Welcome. Today we're going to be solving trigonometric functions using trigonometric identity. Our first trigonometric function is 3 minus 3 cos of x equals 2 sine squared of x. The trigonometric identity we're going to be using is sine squared of x equals 1 minus cos squared of x. Notice that in our function we have sine squared of x. So we're going to substitute 1 minus cos squared of x for sine squared of x. So we're going to write the left side of the function as it is. So 3 minus 3 cos of x equals 2 times 1 minus cos squared of x. Now we're going to write this side again as it is. So 3 minus 3 cos of x equals. Now we're going to distribute the 2. So that's going to give us 2 minus 2 cos squared of x. Now we want to set the equation equal to 0. So we're going to subtract 2 from both sides and add 2 cos squared of x to both sides. That's going to give us 2 cos squared of x minus 3 cos of x plus 1 equals 0. Notice that we have a quadratic, so we can FOIL it out to find our answers. So we're going to FOIL the quadratic. This quadratic can be FOILed, and it's going to give us 2 cos of x minus 1 times cos of x minus 1. If you distribute both of these, they're going to give you the quadratic. So now we can set up two mini equations equal to 0 and find our angles. So we're going to set 2 cos of x minus 1 equal to 0 and cos of x minus 1 equal to 0. On this side, we're going to add 1 to both sides, and that's going to give us 2 cos of x equals 1. Now we're going to divide by 2, and that's going to give us cos of x equals 1/2. On this side, we're going to add 1 to both sides, and that's going to leave us with cos of x equals 1. Our final results are going to be 60 and 300, since the cos of 60 and the cos of 300 is 1/2. And for this side, our angles are going to be 0 and 360, since the cos of 0 and the cos of 360 is 1. Welcome. Today we're going to be solving our second trigonometric function using our trigonometric identity of cos squared of x equals 1 minus sine squared of x. Our trigonometric function is 5 sine of x plus 3 cos squared of x equals 5. Notice how we have sine of x and cos squared of x. So we're going to try to make everything either sine of x or cos of x. So we're going to substitute 1 minus sine squared of x into cos squared of x. So I'm going to write the equation as 5 sine of x plus 3 times 1 minus sine squared of x equals 5. So now we're going to distribute the 3, and that's going to give us 5 sine of x plus 3 minus 3 sine squared of x equals 5. Now we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. Minus 5, minus 5. And that's going to give us negative 3 sine squared of x plus 5 sine of x minus 2 equals 0. We're going to multiply the whole quadratic with negative 1 because we want to make negative 3 sine squared of x positive. So you multiply both sides by negative 1, and that's going to give us 3 sine squared of x plus 5 sine of x plus 2. And 5 sine of x is actually negative, equals 0. So we're going to FOIL out this quadratic, and that actually gives us 3 sine of x minus 2 times sine of x minus 1 equals 0. If you distribute out both of these mini equations, they're going to give you the quadratic. So now we're going to set both mini equations equal to 0. So 3 sine of x minus 2 equal to 0, and sine of x minus 1 equals to 0. Here we're going to add 2 to both sides, and that's going to give us 3 sine of x equals 2. Now we're going to divide by 3, and that's going to give us sine of x equals 2/3. On the other side, we're going to add 1 to both sides, and that's going to give us sine of x equals 1. Sine of x equals 2/3 in angles 41.8 degrees and 138.2 degrees, and sine of x equals 1 in angle 90 degrees. So these are our final results.